Good Monday afternoon, everybody. My name is Eli Robinson. I am the Chief Trivia Officer here at Water Cooler Trivia to go over our weekly quiz that we do every week here for you, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your groups, your organizations, whoever it is that you like to play trivia with. We're here for you. This week's game, Happy Chinese New Year. Yes, that's right. It's Lunar New Year for all of your friends and family that are celebrating more of an Eastern tradition. Here were the results from this week's quiz. So we saw people do really, really well. A median of 9, which that means, over 50% of people got either a perfect score of 10 or 9, an average of 8.45. So ultimately, there were just like a few questions that really ended up differentiating people, which was fine by us. Like, we love when it comes down to that and the tiebreaker. So here's how we set up the quiz. On January 22nd, 2023, billions of people around the world will be celebrating the most important of all Chinese holidays, Chinese New Year. Complete with fireworks invented in China, dragon dance, and those little red envelopes, it's a festival that you don't want to miss. And of course, it's the day that the Chinese zodiac changes over the necks of the 12 animals in the cycle. After seeing this coming year's honoree, we just had to join in on the fun. Happy New Year. So the game ended up being all about various rabbit, bunny, hare, etc. related questions. Rather than go over all the questions here, I figured that I would go over a couple of them in detail to kind of tell you about what we were thinking about and how they ended up working. So let's start with these two, which I think ultimately went a long way to differentiating whether or not you had a perfect score. So Patricia's, Nicole's, and Sophia's are some of the many girlfriends sung about in Titi Me Pregunto, the 2022 single that bounced up the Billboard Hot 100 for what Puerto Rican superstar rapper? That would be Bad Bunny, and a 2-time Emmy winner for her role as Rue Bennett in the TV series Euphoria, and a top 40 singer with the 2013 song Replay. What one-name star voiced Lola Bunny in the 2021 reboot Space Jam: A New Legacy? That would be Zendaya. And in case you're unaware, it's definitely pronounced Zendaya. She's been working her entire life for people to understand that. So basically, one of the questions that we have to ask ourselves here is, how relevant are newer celebrities, right? So Bad Bunny was like the most streamed Spotify person for like the last 3 years. He has like billions of streams. And Zendaya now is a 2-time Emmy winner for her role in Euphoria. But I think suffice it to say that the people who are intimately familiar with these people's work are going to skew younger, right? And when you have things that skew younger, sometimes we end up alienating the people who end up playing our trivia games who are a little bit more experienced, older, seasoned, whatever term you'd like to use. And so we think about this a lot because in some ways the things that are a part of the trivia canon that are older, everyone has had like a fairer shot to know it. These things now, I'm sure there's some young people out there that are going to be in the comments and be like, well, that's BS. Like, you should ask questions that are relevant today. And we do. But I have a feeling that there's a couple people out there that are like, wait, I'm not familiar with these people's work. I don't think that that's a good trivia question or whatever it may be. And we're really conscious about that, right? Like, we don't want to skew too much new because ultimately it's not as in tune with what's like part of the trivia canon. And I think sometimes that's what people look like when they come to us. So, if you got both of these right, obviously, way to go. But just know we're aware if you found either of these questions to be a little bit outside your sweet spot. The other question I wanted to talk about from this week's quiz was perhaps one of the most famous European paintings of an animal, the 1502 watercolor Young Hare by Albrecht Dürer, hangs in the Albertina Museum in what Austrian capital city? The answer is Vienna, and 70% of people got this right. That was awfully surprising to me. As I would have expected this to be closer to 80, 85. So the reason is, in some ways, this is a you know it or you don't question, right? Like, you can, even though we set it up to be bunny related or hare related, you can't, basically the question is, what's the capital of Austria, right? You wouldn't know the answer to that question without it. And for some countries, if I asked you what the capital of the country was, I would expect that to be difficult. So if I asked someone what the capital of Australia was, it feels like the guess would either be Melbourne or Sydney. The guess would probably be Sydney. The answer is Canberra. If I were to ask somebody what the capital of even a country like, what's a good example? China, right? Where, is Shanghai the capital of China? It's actually Beijing, but it's like there are answers that when you think of like the most famous city in that country, it's like, yeah, it's gonna be that. Austria, and I pulled up here like the 6 cities that are the most populous in Austria. Like, if I asked anybody, like, name an Austrian city, based on what you see here, like it's almost certainly everyone is gonna name Vienna. So in some ways it was very surprising because like it's like, okay, you may not know what the capital of Austria is. It is Vienna, but like even the people who are guessing should theoretically guess like the city. And so I was really surprised with this one because yes, it's a you know it or you don't, and we have to be careful about having too many of those because we want people to be able to think and intuit whatever. But I was surprised just based on how there aren't many other Austrian cities that are going to be in people's mind that this didn't end up in the 80 or 90%. As you can see though, people did really, really well. I think those 3 questions were likely the separators up here towards the top. Our tiebreaker this week was basically, can you name the population of China? So I have a feeling it's gonna be a lot of people coming down to whether or not they can figure that out. Once again, I'm Eli Robinson. I am the Chief Trivia Officer here at Water Cooler Trivia. We do a weekly trivia game with a 4-week free trial, so you, your friends, your coworkers, your groups, your organizations can try it. I hope you really enjoy it. Until next week, we're back with Waitangi Day. Keep on triving on.